What's up, everybody? Back on TYT Sports. Toronto Raptors and Orlando Magic made a big trade this morning. We're shooting this Tuesday morning, and it's going to eventually go to a clip that we shot on Monday afternoon, where we were discussing the Raptors' slide. They have been 4-6 over the last 10 games, and we get into some more specifics as to why that was happening, coaching, Dwane Casey's quotes. But the big trade that happened this morning was Ibaka from the Magic to the Raptors in return for a pick and Terrence Ross. So it's confusing as to what the Magic are doing in terms of their general management, because this is the same team that traded for Ibaka and gave the Thunder Victor Oladipo in an obvious loss. And then Ibaka seemed lost in Orlando because without a system in place that favors the somewhat still defensively sound wing and three-point shooter, he just simply wasn't being used effectively by anybody. Now, he's going to the Raptors, and the Raptors coaching system is certainly taking the blame for their recent skid. Kyle Lowry, we get into his words also on the clip from yesterday. But the reason we're doing this kind of pickup here is mostly because we talked about how Ibaka, in a way, would be a good fit, or as Francis mentioned, a good fit for the Raptors, and lo and behold, 12 hours later, it actually happened. So what that means for the Magic is you get Aaron Gordon and Terrence Ross. It's probably the best dunking team in the NBA now, and that's about it. The best dunking 27-win team by the end of the year in the NBA. We'll see what they do with the picks. But so here we'll jump you to yesterday's discussion. Some slight shakeup in the Eastern Conference, Francis Maxwell, for the NBA. The Toronto Raptors 4-6 over the last 10. We're up 16 points in the fourth quarter against the Detroit Pistons last night, on Sunday actually, so 2 days ago.
Yep.
And, the Pistons stormed a comeback. The Raptors scored all of 16, 17 points in the fourth quarter, and Kyle Lowry was not pleased after the game. He was throwing some weird quotes about the Raptors, to say the least. This is Kyle Lowry's thoughts after the game.
Kyle, Coach talked about the execution down the stretch, trying to score situation. What went wrong in the fourth quarter on both ends?
Everything. Everything. Keep putting in the same situations over and over. And you're not being successful. Something got to give. Something got to change.
Any idea what that is?
I have an idea, but I'm keep my mouth shut. Keep it very professional.
Yeah, are you guys beginning to get worried? This slump is kind of
extended? I am. I'm starting to get worried. Yeah. It's not going the way we're supposed to be going. And things aren't changing. So, yeah, I'm starting to get worried.
Makes a good point. Says he's worried. Says he could say something.
I would be.
He's being professional.
He knows it. DeMar DeRozan knows it. Even the Raptor itself.
I like the Raptor. He
knows it.
Sometimes he eats fans.
Maybe. He's a better dinosaur than the Gunnosaurus Rex, as we know. They need to acquire and try to find a way to make some trades to strengthen their roster that has some holes in it. And I don't mean just by holes as in, like, they did well to acquire youth, and they've got a few players that are going to come up that in a few years are going to help this team, but that's not going to help right now, especially for a team that just made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and were mismatched against a powerful team that just almost looks like the big brother against a team that has the potential to get there. They've got quality players. Their backcourt is strong, just as strong as you can imagine, but they need a power forward. They need someone that's talking about trade rumors with Serge Ibaka, potentially going to be one of the players to look at. He is, as far as you can look, someone who's very experienced, as far as you can obtain, should I say. Someone who's a good acquisition, experienced, been there, done it. Played with Oklahoma City. He was in the team that made the finals, but I believe.
Well, he looked like he had a role in Oklahoma City before 2015, and now it seems like Serge Ibaka's lost amongst the.
Yeah.
He needs a new home. He needs a new system.
A lot of people get lost in Florida.
That's true. They just kind of wander around. I wonder if Serge Ibaka on the Magic's ever just wandered over and been like, I'm going to join the Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team for a little bit today.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't even know where Tampa is relative to Orlando, so I'm sorry if I offended anybody in Florida. They need some front court defensive help.
Yeah.
And Dwane Casey, now this is what's funny about this. Dwane Casey has never been considered by the majority as someone who is a good to great head coach. Now, it depends on what word you use, because like Doc Rivers, he's not an X's and O's guy. He's in the bottom tier of coaches who can draw up plays when they matter most. And I mean that in terms of, like, you have the creative guys like Brad Stevens and Terry Stotts who really understand their rosters. Terry Stotts this year a little bit different for the Blazers, but still, we've seen it in the past. They're able to create with what they have. Then you got guys like Doc Rivers who are man managers, right? They're not X's and O's guys, but Doc Rivers can control a locker room. I think Dwane Casey's in that group. Seems like, though, he's beginning to lose the locker room. He's trying different rotations. He's trying to do too much without really acknowledging the fact that they've gotten beat by bad teams. Their schedule, I'll get to Casey's quote later, their schedule for the last, I'd say the last 14, 15 games, there are bad losses on that. And if the Raptors start slipping out of home court advantage, they're going to be in some real trouble down the stretch, but nothing that can't be fixed. The Hornets blew them out by like 45 points there. The Hornets are also 1-9 over their last 10 games. Yeah. The Suns and the 76ers, those are not losses. Now, it's justifiable. You can say a close loss to the Spurs, that's good. They did beat the Clippers. They're supposed to beat the Nets. They're supposed to beat the Pelicans, but they also dropped games to the Magic, and they've dropped games to the Timberwolves. These are all bottom of their conference opponents. Yeah. Now, on top of all of that, it doesn't help that the Wizards and Celtics are 9-1 over the last 10, so they have teams rising towards the top. Now, I think they're only, still 3 games out of that 2 seed as we hit the All-Star break. Maybe they just need an All-Star break. Maybe they're a little gassed. Maybe. I think they're going to have to start to rethink about what they want to do with the front court going forward, so they need some defensive help. Look, last year, Bismack Biyombo emerged on the scene when Jonas Valanciunas went out because of his defensive effort that kept them in games. But the only reason that the Raptors were able to survive a lot of those Game 7s, they were in Toronto. Yeah. It would have been a different story possibly if they were on the road in Boston or in Indiana or in Miami, wherever they were playing. I know 2 of those teams are right.
Well, at the moment, their home court isn't the way it was in terms of how confident they are about going and winning. I mean, at this point, they're 18-10 at home. That's a record that's right down there next to the likes of the Hornets, Heat, Pistons. Like, they're not far off of them in terms of their winning percentage at home. And this is a place that is packed to the brim every single night. They have the fan base that expects them to go and win, whereas the teams that are ahead of them, the Wizards, the Celtics, and the Cavs, they're dominant at home, more dominant than what the Raptors are at the moment. So I wouldn't panic as much if I was a Raptors fan as to, because I think they get into the playoffs and whatever their seeding works out, they have the ability to go on the road and win. If they were to come up against the Wizards at some point, I'd be confident in them being able to beat the Wizards over a series. Simply because you'd be able to go there. And the Wizards are fantastic at home.
Yeah, I think that's where home court becomes so important, is the Wizards look unbeatable at home so far this season, and Scotty Brooks has really turned around the ship. Granted, that's also going to give you one of the best backcourt matchups with DeRozan and Lowry versus Wall and Beal. That'd actually be a really fun series.
They just got to go back to making it a fortress and a place that people fear to come because they know that they're going to get worked to the bone and there's going to be a fan base there that expects them to win. But that look of worry that you see on Kyle Lowry's face, it's not just on Kyle Lowry's face. It's on the majority of that team at the moment and the fan base, because Kyle Lowry as well has already admitted that he's opting out of his last year of his contract as well.
Yes, but he's also admitted that he wants to stay. Now, that's going to depend on how they compete. By the way, the Cavs want a playmaker? Go after Kyle fucking Lowry. You'll see the entire Eastern Conference revolt against you, though. But that's a guy that's the type of player. No, he's not getting moved at the trade deadline. But look, we've seen ever since what KD did, man, that does not mean when Kyle Lowry says he wants to stay in Toronto that they're going to give him the money that he wants or they're going to see him. He's 31. It's not like Kyle Lowry's young anymore. Kyle Lowry is in the same age bracket as Chris Paul. He's got X amount of years left before those knees eventually give out, and you become Raymond Felton before you know it. No offense, Raymond Felton had a great earlier career. I think Kyle Lowry and Chris Paul are far better than Raymond Felton was earlier in his career, though. Dwane Casey had this to say, and it kind of is telling in terms of what they need to go do moving forward. He says he's got to look at it. It's not one player, it's the coaching staff. It's all of us in this together. Some of our bench guys are now starting. Our second group are in the first group. Their chemistry is a bit off. There's no excuse. We've got to dig ourselves out. So why do I say, Dwane Casey's a man manager? Because he's not going to put it on his players. He said it's the coaching staff, and that's something that's actually really admirable.
That's admirable. Yeah.
But again, Dwane Casey The Raptors' success will be getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals. No one is expected to make it out of the East save for the Cavs. Therefore, if you make the Conference Finals, just like the Hawks did 2 years ago, and the Raptors did last year, whoever makes it there, congratulations. You get your participation ribbon for losing to the Cavs again.
Yeah, and if you
in the East.
And I think what Kyle Lowry's realizing there is that if you want to be the best, you got to start acting as if you are the best. So that means you cannot just accept to be second best. Like LeBron James spits and complains at the pram, throws everything out, like throws these hissy fits because he wants to build a superstar team and he cannot settle for being second best because that's not what Golden State Warriors are doing. They're not settling for being second best. So if you got to act a little bit like LeBron James and get a little upset in a press conference in order to get your office of your franchise to go and start strengthening the team, then that's what you have to do because otherwise you're going to be left in the dust. The Celtics are picking up. I mean, the Wizards look great as well. Those teams at the moment look better than you do, and you're going to be struggling to be a 3 or 4 seed when last year you were on the cusp of greatness, you know? So you got to build around that team.
You were right there. And I believe that the Raptors can steer this ship correctly. 4-6 over the last 10. That's not 1-9. You're not the Hornets, who have just literally fallen off the face of the earth, which I'm wondering now, too, is Kemba Walker available? I know, your star guys, I know. We're talking too much about point guards that are being available. In the end here, they go into the All-Star break at the end of this week. They got to find a win. 1 win makes them 5-5, 500 over the last 10. That seems fine by me. They need to sign somebody, trade for somebody defensively strong in the front court. And anybody, maybe an extra option. Maybe you have to swap some picks. You're not going to get, I mean, DeRozan just signed. He's happy to stay there, obviously. Kyle Lowry, who knows what's going to unfold for him over the summer. But you have a great backcourt together. But I think the key thing here, someone's got to step up and lead. Seems like there's a lot of betas. You need an alpha male to really step up and take complete responsibility. And I think Kyle Lowry can do that. He's been around the league for enough time. He's seen his fair share of playoffs. He's faced LeBron. He's won twice on their court against LeBron and Love and Irving. He can step up to that role. And I'd like to see it because Kyle Lowry is a fantastic point guard, and so is DeMar DeRozan. But just like I said all of last season, their entirety of their team, minus the help they can get so far, is lives and dies with how they shoot in the backcourt. Shoot over 50%, you can contend with any team in the East. If you shoot under 40% combined, you guys get blown out. So, 4-6, not that bad. Just looks really bad when the Wiz and Celtics are 18-2 over the last 20.
9-1 right now, I think both of them.
9-1 over the last 10, yeah. So 18-2 over their each last 10 games. That's impressive, man. So comment below, like, favorite, subscribe. Raptors fans, you only talk about the Raptors when you give a shit.
Let's Raptor this up.